I'm Susan Elliott. I'm the news editor of Musical America. And this afternoon, we're going to be speaking with Trey Devey. Trey is the president of the Interlochen Center for the Performing Arts, which has many different divisions, which he will tell us about in a few minutes. He has been at Interlochen since 2017, and before that, he was the CEO of the Cincinnati Symphony, which he turned around financially in rather spectacular fashion. Why don't we start with you describing exactly what the Academy is? I mean, they're all different elements of it. So what are they?
Yeah, so there's 5 elements of Interlochen Center for the Arts, the overall center. So Interlochen Arts Academy is the boarding school for 550 kids throughout the academic year. Interlochen Arts Camp is the home for around 2,500 kids typically on our campus in the summer. Interlochen Public Radio is also part of overall Interlochen. Interlochen Presents includes 600 performances and artistic events throughout the year. And we also have the College of Creative Arts, which is for continuing education for adult learning.
And one of the things that I see that you've done is to increase the scholarships quite a lot, right?
Yeah, it's been a exceptional level of focus for us is to provide additional access to this community. The training that happens here is best in the world for the high school range, but for the camp from 3rd grade through the 12th grade. And I know from my own personal experience of wanting to come to a place like Interlochen, but not having the means, that it's been a passion project for me. I'd also say that from in terms of our ability to bring underrepresented communities to our campus, has been a major focus. The camp in the last year or so has increased our domestic diversity by 30%. Through a combination of financial aid and partnerships that we've developed around the country. So access is key, and that's going to continue to be key as we push toward our 100th anniversary in 2028.
As far as I know, you are the only boarding school for high school age music students or arts students. Is that right?
Yeah, we're one of a few, but we've been around the longest, and we're the largest. And so there's quite a bit of tradition behind us here at Interlochen. And
so has the pandemic had an impact on applications, enrollment?
So our enrollment is up 10% on a year-to-year basis. So it's been quite strong. And I think that's it's a testament to the quality of our faculty, to the quality of the offerings, to the opportunities that our students have in the years ahead. But as soon as we announced our fall reentry plan of how we were going to come back in the fall, our enrollment just spiked. And people saw the level of discipline that we were bringing to coming back in the fall.
You have on your website, I believe there's a page devoted to what the requirements will be.
Yeah.
Could you outline those for us now?
Yeah, so it's called our fall reentry plan. And so there are really 3 elements of the plan. One is really stringent health protocols, and that includes things like a regular cadence of testing for all the members of our community for COVID-19, so that if there is an issue, we can identify it quickly. We've got the quarantine and isolation spaces already assigned on campus to make sure that we can address those right away. We also developed a modified academic calendar. And so what that basically means is we are starting earlier. We're pushing straight through to the past Thanksgiving. Then we're giving our students a longer winter break. So the students aren't coming and going, but they're staying a longer period of time, and that longer winter break will happen during flu season. So the kids are gone when the pressure on our health system is greater. Then they come back in February, and we finish the year strong. The last element is a contained campus. So we are in this beautiful area of northern Michigan, and we've got 1,200 acres, and so our students will come into the community, and will basically be self-quarantining as a community.
When are they arriving?
They arrive, well, classes start on August 17th. They'll start arriving a little bit before that, August 11th, I think. The number of cases here in northern Michigan is quite low, and we hope it stays that way. As I say, we're sort of we're a nice place for social distancing. We have way more trees than people, and so it's a beautiful area. The other thing that's to our advantage is that we started as a camp in 1928. So the number of outdoor spaces, performance spaces that we have are exceptional. They're all over the place, dotting our campus. So to the extent that we can take advantage of those early weeks when our students just arrive to be outdoors, which we know by the data is just a better place to be, that's where we'll do our work.
Will they all get tested when they arrive?
Yes, that's the idea. Everyone gets tested on arrival, and then we'll have a cadence of testing throughout the year to make sure that we're staying on top of things. We've also decided that we're de-densifying our campus. So anyone who can work remotely, we're going to ask them to work remotely during this period of time. So really our student-facing employees are on campus, and then everyone else will be working, from home. Let's say there's someone from the IT department who can do their work from home. We would encourage and actually require that those faculty members be working at home. Anyone who does need to come on campus goes through a health screen. Every time that I come on campus, my temperature is taken. I go through the series of questions. I've asked if I travel. So there are those precautions I think many of us have grown accustomed to, and then there'll be additional measures on top of that.
What about international students?
Yeah, so we're working with our international students on an individual basis, and we know there are complications. There's more information that we expect to come out in the coming weeks on what will and what will not be allowed, but we're maintaining a great deal of flexibility as we plan for the arrival of our international students.
Can you talk a little bit about what that pivot was back in March, when it started, and how long it took, and have you lost any faculty or students along the way, or tell me about that?
Yeah, so fortunately it was a relatively short period of time, and when I announced to our students that we would be shifting to virtual learning, it was right at the beginning of our spring break. And so we had 2 weeks to prepare for that transition to online learning, which was such a blessing. Our students made it home safely. We tracked them each individually, and then we were able to just launch straight into online virtual learning for the final weeks of the year.
How was the faculty in terms of getting up to speed in the online department?
What they did over a short period of time was extraordinary. They hit the cover off the ball in providing for our students. We didn't want to have there be any lowering of expectations or standards in terms of the Interlochen curriculum and what we deliver between the in-person and the online experience.
What about the orchestral rehearsals in the fall?
Necessity is the mother of invention here, and so the repertoire that we perform may be different, smaller ensembles,
right,
spread apart, different configurations in that sense. So I would fully expect that our programming will be different. In fact, I was just talking to Leslie Dunner, who's the conductor of Academy Orchestra, and he's very much thinking along these lines. We'll use the outdoor spaces. That will be helpful as well.
What about the academy now? I mean, the camp. Are
Yeah.
you doing that virtually or what?
Yeah. So for the camp, we basically created a new entity. I guess you could say, to the earlier question, we created a sixth element of interlocking called Interlochen Online. The great news is that we had that track record for the academy in the spring, and so we could use that as a springboard for the summer. And so we announced the cancellation of in-person at the same time as Interlochen Online, and it's been amazing. We were thinking going in, okay, maybe there are 500 or 600 kids that might join us. Well, now we're over 1,400 kids that have joined us.
How do you go to camp online?
Yeah, so what we've done is we sent a camp in a box to every one of our enrolled students.
So just give me a few examples of what's in
so it might include clothes. There's some for the juniors, the third graders, fourth graders. There are arts and crafts that are in there, camp recipes, things like that they can maybe do with their folks and have a bonding experience. But things that will evoke the interlocking, and it depends by age level, what's in there.
If you were running an orchestra, what might you be doing right now?
Yeah, it's been a while, and I'd say I hesitate to be an advice giver, but I'll say a few things that I've been thinking about recently, and in no particular order. I think we are preparing for a great deal of uncertainty. We hope that uncertainty doesn't strike, but we're ready for it, so that we've taken as an institution one body blow, but we have to be ready for something else. And that, I think, is just the responsible thing to do, is to prepare the institution and our people for that, so that we can carry the day. The racial injustice and tension that exists in our world, we've got such a responsibility, and I'm just feel a sense of resolve that we as arts institutions can take this moment where all of these things are happening simultaneously and use this as a platform to do much better. Feel like we need to stay hyper focused on that work.